welcome to episode 11 of the Little Vicious Stitches Knitting Podcast. I am Catherine, your host. This is a podcast about knitting, a little bit of crochet, and having a woman-owned yarn dyeing business in Hagen, Germany. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and I also have a web shop. All the information to these sites I will leave for you guys in the drop-down box below. If you're tuning in today for the first time and you like what you see, then please subscribe. And for those of you who are coming back, welcome. Today, I am filming a special podcast. So the channel has reached 200 subscribers, and it's quite remarkable. I never thought that it would get to this point. I had a bit of trouble in the beginning deciding whether or not I wanted to do a YouTube video, and the process was a little bit daunting. It's kind of strange sitting in a room and talking to yourself. And I just stuck with it because, after a while, it was a lot of fun. Chatting with you guys and sharing what I'm doing in the shop and sharing what I've been knitting. It's gotten to this point that we have 200 subscribers and there will be a giveaway. And the giveaway information I will share with all of you at the end of the episode. So it's Sunday here in Germany, September 1st. Wow, I can't believe we have already reached September. However, I'm very excited about that because that means spooky season starts. And it's still quite warm outside, so I am here in the studio. The last episode that I did, I was also in the studio. I think it's a great place to film. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe drop a few comments in the comments below. But it's nice and cool down here, so I'm very happy being here today. I have an iced coffee. That is something that I really cherish during this time of year when it's hot, and when it goes more towards October and whatnot, then you can add a little bit of cinnamon or pumpkin spice flavor to it, and then it's even better for the spooky season. So as usual, I thought I would start with finished objects. The last time we chatted, I was working on the Tank One tank top from Bella Tricot. This was a nice summer knit. My daughter was really excited about getting a tank top. Until this point, she really wouldn't let me knit anything for her, so I was even more excited that she was down with that idea. And so I showed her a picture of this pattern. She liked it a lot, and then since it was summertime, I decided to knit with our 100% superwash merino yarn that's an upcycled base. That means that the fibers are collected and then respun into a skein of yarn. And this merino wool has about 21.5 micron in it. However, it is really soft, but also it reminded me of a plant-based yarn almost. I would say without the the imagination of it being scratchy, just how a plant-based yarn would feel on your fingers. Your fingers aren't sweaty. You can notice that there's air circulation around them while you're knitting. And the fabric, when it's completely knit, also has a very natural feel to it. So without further ado, I will show you guys the tank top. So this was a very easy pattern to follow. It was written very lovely. I made some variations to it, but nothing that decreased the integrity of the pattern. My daughter didn't want a tank top that was long in the torso part. She wanted something that was kind of short, that would be would be a bit snug on her rib cage, and used a 3.5 millimeter needle because it is a bottom up pattern. I didn't want it to be too loose at the bottom of the tank top. I wanted it to fit nice and snugly. I decided to use a German longtail cast on, which I use often when I'm knitting socks, so that my band at the top isn't too wobbly, and it doesn't through the heat of the body, it doesn't get too soft that it like slips off or falls down. The pattern calls for a 1x1 rib, and in the same sense, of the way I knit socks. I also did a 1x1 twisted rib so that the band part of the tank top was even, I'd say, yeah, more stable, so it wouldn't be too flowy. So yeah, so I did the band, and then I kept knitting to the desired length, and then I separated for the sleeves. This was a new concept for me, and this is what I always enjoy when I'm knitting yarn projects, is that every pattern that you use, you're always learning a different technique. And I did it a couple times. I didn't just, you know, happen all of a sudden that I had the right count, or that the decreases, because basically once you separate, you knit flat across and you do the decreases on the side and decreases in the middle. And yeah, it didn't happen right away. I had to take it apart quite a few times, but for me it was okay. I don't know how you guys feel when you're knitting a project and maybe you mess up that you have to take it out again and do it over. For me, that's still knitting. I enjoy it very much, and when I notice that maybe I'm just stressed out or whatnot, or if me trying it over again isn't working, then I'll just take a break from it. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Maybe you can tell me what your methods are when you have certain dilemmas when you're knitting in the comments below, but I really don't feel like it's a big deal. Every project for me is a gift to learn something else, and so I really enjoyed this process. Yeah, then you have a beautiful I-cord pattern. No, and that's what I really thought was very nice about this. It really gave the tank top a very sweet, dainty look. And yeah, I can open it up, I hope. One second. My daughter seems to have put a double knot in there. Yeah, so you have your I-cord pattern here, and then the decreases become even more, and then it's just this little strip, and it's just so sweet, especially when you know, tie it together and wear it on the shoulders. So yeah, so you basically do the back as you did the front, and yeah, it's quite a quick knit. I mean, I definitely can suggest it to you guys. Now I can show you guys the yarn that I used. This is our Neid colorway. It is, as I mentioned, a 100% superwash recycled yarn. It has 425 meters, and it's 100 grams per skein. This is currently stocked in the shop. And I also dyed the same base again, however, in our Riverbend colorway. This is a really beautiful, silky looking color. We have this as well in our merino cashmere nylon base, and also in our Highland Decay base, available in the shop right now. And I really love this yarn. Even now when I touch it, I can totally feel that it's not too yeah, it's not too scratchy. It has a slight rustic touch to it, and it has a beautiful halo that I really, really love. So yeah, I could also imagine that this base would be super for a shirt that one could knit, and also something that one could knit in the fall. Yeah, so moving on to works in progress, I have two projects in total right now on the needles. One is a pair of socks and the other is a sweater. I started knitting the Speculaas socks from Kayo Knit. This is a sock pattern that was featured in issue 21 of Laine magazine, or Laine. This is from a designer who is from Japan, and it's a beautiful pattern. And what is really cool about it, which really, yeah, I'd say made my day, but was very interesting for me, was that it is a pattern that is knit with a toe up. So I've never done a toe up before, and I don't really like using circular needles. The pattern calls for them, and or for the magic loop technique. And I at first tried the cast on with circular needles, and where I was noticing that I was struggling a lot, I then just switched to double pointed, which are my needles of choice when knitting socks. And I actually knit this pattern twice, but not completely. I wanted to cast them on, and I didn't want to wait, and I didn't have the right needle size. I had maybe close, and at some point, since it has a very I just adjusted the light a little bit. I hope that's not too annoying for you guys. But like I said, this pattern has a very detailed stitch, and where I had a needle size was much too large. I believe the pattern calls for 2.25 needle size. I only had a 2.5, and that just was much too big. You could see the stitch definition, but it wasn't as crisp and defined as it is now. And so I frogged that sock, and then I started again with a 2.0 needle. That's obviously smaller than the 2.25, but I wanted to try it again. And I then decided that I would just knit a sock size larger, so that everything would work out. And so far that was the case. I cast on then with the Turkish cast on method, and then the sock pattern basically continues with the decreases on the side, and then knitting in stockinette, and then the chart starts. What was also quite interesting about this pattern was that not only did you have a toe up construction or a toe up beginning, you also had a heel that was completely new for me. And I just kept paying attention to the length that my foot was from my toe until about 3 inches before my heel. And that definitely helped as a guideline, as I was following one size larger. And I really love this pattern. In the beginning, when I saw the chart, I was a bit overwhelmed, because I thought to myself, like, you have to look every time to make sure you don't skip a row, and then one row was basically with cables too, and then the next row with slip stitches on certain parts, and then in the next row without the slip stitches. But it becomes a very intuitive rhythm in terms of knitting these socks. So that was really perfect about that. For this sock, I also took our 100% superwash merino recyclable yarn, and this is our sweetgrass colorway. That was one of the colorways for the Great Frontier sock set that I designed for Sock Week 2024 with Midi Natty, and it was one of the mini skeins. So this is a colorway that we don't have in the shop, as when Sock Week ends, all of those items that were sold have to then be discontinued until forever, or next year. So not sure when I'll get to finishing this socks, but first I have to finish a sweater, I think, because both projects require so much of my concentration and attention. I'm not sure that these will be done first, but who knows? Depending on how much time I have, we will see. So now I'd like to show you guys my next work in progress. This is the framed sweater from Andrea Mallory. It is a bottom-up sweater with a colorwork pattern. This pattern calls for 3 colors in total. And what's important for this project is that the colors have a very strong contrast to one another, so that the color work pops, but also so the I guess brim of the sweater and the shoulder part also show a bit of contrast and don't I guess dissolve into the rest of the sweater. So for this one, I believe I took the size 3. So then for my size, I needed 2 skeins for the brim and the shoulder part, and then I needed 3 colors or 3 skeins of yarn for the main fabric, which for me, the main fabric would then be this color, this light cream color, and then the contrast color, I also needed 2 skeins, and that this one here. Yeah, so for this sweater, I used, as it is suggested in the pattern, a sport weight yarn, and I was really excited about this because I hadn't worked with sport weight yarn really up until this point, and since the fall was coming, I was really yeah, excited about this challenge, but also excited about actually knitting it for a couple of reasons. One reason definitely was because this was this, you know, is going to be my Rhinebeck sweater. I won't be going to Rhinebeck, but at least I will then be there in spirit. And Rhinebeck, yeah, not so much the festival, but Rhinebeck itself, the city, is one of the cities in New York that are very close to my heart. I lived very closely to there before we moved to Germany, and it's a beautiful river town. It has really majestic old buildings that really remind you of the time when, you know, I guess legacies and wealth was booming in New York City, and then those, you know, aristocrats, I guess, wanted a break from the city days and loudness and whatnot, and they all traveled to the north to their summer homes in Putnam and Dutchess County, and that's all you see when you travel along Route 9 heading north. And yeah, Rhinebeck became quite a destination. It has so many cool shops, from baked goods to art galleries, to yeah, like museums. It's just amazing. So getting back to the sweater, yeah, it was exciting because it was going to be a Rhinebeck sweater. Rhinebeck's close to my heart. And yeah, I realized that I haven't knit a sweater in at least almost 2 years. And I forgot about how amazing it felt to have this squishy fabric in your hands, and a knit project that just grows, and it's for the winter, and it'll keep you warm, and it's yours, and it'll always be there, and it gives such great comfort and warmth. And so I said, perfect, all the stars are aligned, I'm gonna knit this sweater. So I ordered the sport weight yarn from the distributor that I order my yarn from to dye the colorways in the shop, and I decided to take something or use colors that are a bit lighter. I'm kind of a person that likes, you know, the olive greens, the darks and whatnot. And I thought maybe I should just step away from that for a little bit. I can still kind of stay in the realm of the colors that I like to wear very much and the tones. And so I chose Mortuberry for the cuff and the shoulder. And then for the main fabric, I took our Riverbend colorway. And for the contrast, I decided to use industrial. And yeah, this yarn is a super pleasure to knit with. It really is nice when you're knitting color work, because when you're using color work, you have to stay relaxed anyway, because you don't want to have too much pull in the fabric or in the design, because you have to try to stay with your tension as much as possible on a baseline so that your stitches aren't pulled in a direction and the pattern that you're trying to recreate basically comes distorted. So I thought the yarn did a really good job in aiding me in that process, and you can really see that, yeah, none of the pattern is distorted, and the pattern, as far as I understood, was inspired by Andrea Mowry's mother, who used to do quilting, and she wanted to use this quilting pattern again in her work, or she wanted to use this quilting pattern basically for this sweater, and she wanted it to have a feeling of, yeah, you have a quilt pattern and you can put it in a frame. So that's why she called it the frame sweater. I hope I explained that the right way. Yeah, so moving a step back, how did I start? I decided that it would be a very good idea to get gauge before I knit then, or I started the project. And I also saw on Instagram that a lot of people were making like swatches that were like this big, and I thought like, oh cool, yeah, I want that too, and then I can like frame it and hang it up in my studio. And so then I saw in the pattern basically how you start your swatch, and I couldn't wrap my head around it, especially since she was using, or she suggested then, a circular needle. And I thought to myself like, okay, circular needle, swatch, color work on the round, and I had never done that before. So then I watched the video from Nitty Natty. She has a swatch tutorial where she also uses a circular needle, and she's also knitting in the round, and that was a really big help to get an idea of how does one even do that. So yeah, my idea is to make a huge swatch basically changed, because when I saw that one strand of yarn always basically stays and hangs in the back, and then I'm doing color work for the swatch, I just started getting super stressed out, and my fingers were getting caught in everything, and I just was like, okay, maybe this is just not going to happen. I'm just going to make a small swatch. So this is the swatch I made. I feel, although it didn't really yeah, I guess fulfill my dreams of having a swatch so big that I could put it in a frame, that it came out relatively good. Yeah, I could have made it a bit more, or I made it wider, but that was like another thing that I learned from this process, that when you make a swatch, yeah, you need at least, I don't know, double the number of stitches that they then suggest, so that you have enough room and enough fabric then to work with, but also then to measure your swatch. So yeah, I watched a video on how to get gauge, because I thought that would then be important to refresh that again. And yeah, this is my swatch. I really love it. Yeah, and I started off with my swatch using a 4.5 millimeter needle, and yeah, I then noticed that that might not work, especially after I then measured out my gauge, and then I came to the conclusion that I didn't have enough stitches. So what I did was I went down a needle size smaller and switched to a 4.0, and I find that it worked perfectly for this sweater, because it has then the width that I was looking for. I wanted to have a sweater that is basically wide and airy. I didn't want anything that was snug and form-fitting. For this pattern, you also, I mean, it's basically meant to be knit as a sweater that has a short torso, and I'm not really a fan of the short torso variant, so I decided to do a little bit longer. And I am basically, I believe I marked how many times I did the chart. Yeah, here I have it. I've done the chart 1, 2, and now I'm on the third time. The third time will then be the last, and I think that I'll then have the length for the body that I was looking for. And then after that, you separate then for the sleeves. I'm wondering how that's going to turn out, since I've never done a sweater and splitting sleeves while doing a color work pattern. So yeah, I'm gonna see how that goes. And it's been such a pleasure. I have my Little Bishop stitches, wooden stitch marker. We also have them in the shop if you guys are curious. And yeah, I think it fits really well with the whole aesthetic of the sweater. And yeah, so let me show you guys now the yarn that I used. As I mentioned, I used 3 of our tonal colorways. I have here our industrial colorway. This is a color that's kind of like, it's gray, but it has in its base tone a touch of brown. And I think it's really beautiful, especially when you don't really want to wear something too dark, but you also want it to be a very calm and subtle color and also cool at the same time. So yeah, as I mentioned, the sweater and these skeins for the shop update that we had yesterday are in our superwash merino sport yarn. And it's really a lovely soft yarn. I mean, if you squish it together right now, it just bounces and it's just wonderful. And I really love knitting with it. This update was special in that although we had already had a sport yarn in our merino alpaca base, for which I also with this update stocked sweater quantities, this base was different for me, or a different kind of special, because I felt like it really brought a lot of the feeling for the shop that I would like to communicate to you. It really brought it together. I really like this cozy, rustic, natural, old world feeling, and I feel like this base really brought all that together. You have the cozy through the softness of the yarn. You have the coziness through knitting that sweater that you love to knit it with. And then you have the colors, which I've been told by a lot of our customers, I can't get colors that you dye anywhere else. I'm so happy that you dye these dark, moody, dramatic colors. I really love them. I love knitting with them. They're so inspiring. And I was really happy when I heard that, because I thought to myself, like, me too. I love these things so much. I love these colors so much. And they come from the bottom of my heart, and they come from my deepest inspiration and my love and interest for old world things, dark, dramatic, dark topics, Victorian-esque. And yeah, I really feel that this shop update really nailed it with that, and I'm so excited. So yeah, that was industrial. Now we have Mortuberry, and yeah, this colorway has a lot of popularity in the shop. It is one of our tonals that is sold out the fastest. It is one of those tonals at the shows that we do, also sold out the fastest. And yeah, it really brings home that nice, dramatic, dark, yeah, almost like Victorian Gothic, Dracula feeling that I really love. And yeah, getting back a little bit more to the yarn, it's suggested a, you know, 2.5 needle to 3, and it has 21.5 micron, 100% superwash merino yarn. Yeah, and I'm so proud of these colors. My lighting is a little off sometimes because of the ring, but this is basically what it looks like. So yeah, and then we have Riverbend. Riverbend is a really subtle color, and depending on which yarn base I dye it with, the cream tone of brown can change a little bit. It can be a little bit lighter than otherwise. And I really noticed that while dyeing yarn that happens often depending on the amount of merino and the amount of nylon, but also whether or not it's superwash treated. So yeah, and Riverbend is basically a colorway that's somewhat similar to our Gularia colorway, which is this one here. Gularia has a cooler feeling, and it also has more of a gray undertone, whereas you can already see the contrast. Riverbend, it has this really like creamy undertone of beige, a warm brown, but really, really, really subtle. So yeah, so those were the 3 colorways that were updated in the shop. Another update that we had was our Hurricane Twilight colorway, which is one of our speckled colorways from our Melting Colors collection. And as I mentioned in the weeks leading up to this update was going to be a small update. I wasn't going to dye this base across all of our tonal colors. I wanted to do something small that was also a little bit more intimate. I'm also starting to notice as a dyer that I really enjoy the process of being a small batch dyer. Obviously, when I have a show to go to or a festival, I have to dye much more. That makes sense. But I mean, for like shop updates and whatnot, I really enjoy focusing a little bit more on concepts, and also exploring and getting to know the yarn a little bit more intimately than dyeing mountains of yarn, because I know in today's day and age through Instagram and Facebook, there's a very high expectation of people who present their product on there who are actually, you know, artists. They make handmade products, and there is such a level of expectation that are put on these companies, and obviously professionality should definitely be there. One should definitely fulfill their promise. I'm not saying, you know, everybody should be sloppy and it should be okay, but I think that the expectation in terms of who these people really are, they are real people. It's not Apple, and I'm not Amazon. So I just think sometimes the expectation has to be dropped a little bit for hand dyers, because we love what we do, and you guys love hand-dyed yarn, and it's just a win-win situation. Back to the yarn. Today I'm very chatty. This is our Hurricane Twilight colorway in our Tempest MCN, 80% merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. This is a fingering base. It's 400 meters and 100 gram skein. So yeah, I was really excited about bringing this colorway to the shop in our MCN base, because so far I have it available in our sock and also in our Luxe 100% high twist. And there's something really special about dyeing merino cashmere nylon, and I think very luxurious, and that's what I really love about MCN. So yeah, that is our Hurricane Twilight. Yeah, another base that we have in the shop that I also wanted to talk a little bit more about today is our Highland Decay base. This is a 100% Peruvian Highland wool. I really thought it would be beautiful when knitting sweaters, yeah, I thought like, oh, it would be so nice to have a more woolly base in the shop. So I decided to then start dyeing a lot of Highland Decay in some of our shop colorways. Here again I have Mortuberry, and then here I have our Ursula colorway. On the screen it looks a little bit black, but it's actually, when I look, I guess with moving away it's not really helping. It's a purplish, kind of like aubergine color. I really love how the colors pick up. It is 100 grams and has 112 meters of length, and we have this in the shop available in 50 gram skeins. So we have a lot of colors in our Highland Decay base. We have anywhere from your more dramatic moody colors to more so pinks. We also have it in neon colors. This is our Sun Kiss colorway. We have it in our famous electric slide as well. I mean, that looks really awesome. Look how that pops like crazy. And yeah, I mean, this yarn is perfect for a hat or a scarf and even a sweater. So do you guys like this yarn or type of yarn? Do you prefer it in a 100-gram skein? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think of Highland DK. So now I thought I would talk to you guys about what's going on in the shop. As I mentioned in the last episode, that LBS is rebranding a little bit. Some of you probably already noticed that the wheels are already turning with that in terms of our logo and our name. And yeah, I moved on to the idea that I would like to keep the legacy and concept of the business name Little Vicious Stitches in the picture, and decided then to do a shorter form of that in terms of the initials of the company name. But I thought maybe one can have the best of both worlds, where you have the initials of the business and you still have the concept and the legacy of the name of the business still included. Another thing that you guys probably also noticed is that the shop is taking on a new look, or rather the face of LBS-Yarn. I felt that I wanted to have more of a conversation with you guys about the things that I really love and that really interest me, but also to have a conversation with you guys about what colors are LBS-Yarn. I love dramatic colors, I love moody colors, I like colors that have a lot of layers and a lot of depth. And I felt with this rebranding, I really wanted to celebrate that. I wanted to celebrate who I am, the colors I love, and the colors I love to dye, and also to celebrate with all you together who really love LBS-Yarn and enjoy our colorways. I would love to also hear your feedback in terms of your shopping experience. I won't take it personally. If there's anything that you guys said, like, yeah, that just really didn't work for me, or that wasn't clear, or I had trouble here, or the website was too slow, please let me know. The whole goal is to make your shopping experience with our yarn as best as possible. So, and I can only do that if I know about what your experience has been and to hear your feedback. Another thing that we've changed as well is the language. YouTube will remain an English-speaking podcast channel. I feel that that's important because although I am based in Germany, my exposure is then international, and it's important for me that that people can understand me then on an international level. In terms of Facebook and Instagram, from what I've noticed, the most of you who purchase our yarn are coming from Germany, and for that, then I thought that maybe it would be a good idea to then communicate with you guys in the German language. So if you're wondering why is she speaking German all of a sudden on Instagram, that would be the reason, because I would like get to know my audience a little bit better. And I thought if I communicate with you in the German language, maybe we can help drop that barrier. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Does it make a difference that I speak to you in German? Would you rather me speak to you in German, or would you rather me speak to you in English? I'm just curious to kind of hear what you guys are thinking in that respect. So, yeah, now moving on to festivals. 2024 is coming to an end. We have one more festival that we will be participating in, and that is the Backnang Wool Festival in Backnang, Germany. That is on the 26th and 27th of October. I will be basically bringing everything from sock yarn to Highland DK to merino story alpaca, as well as our new merino sport base. If you guys have any special wishes in terms of which bases you would like to see there, please let me know, and I will be sure to bring them with me, especially colorways as well. So 2025, we're already scheduled to be in Leipzig on the, I believe it is 5th and 6th of April. I will leave the link to the festival in the show notes, so you guys can mosey on over there and check the festival information out. We will most likely be in Duisburg at the Kielgehold Boy Festival in May, and Kassel, I would also love to be there again next year in July. I applied today and we'll see what happens. Okay, so moving on to the giveaway. I will show you guys the giveaway prize. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this giveaway is because we now have 200 subscribers on the YouTube channel. This giveaway will include several super cool things. One of those things first will be one skein of Locked and Loaded in our 85-15 base. That is merino 85% and 15 nylon. And what's really cool about this, and it's also a superwash, is that this is also a biodegradable yarn. We had this in the shop for a little while in our some of our colorways, but also some of our speckled colorways, but we no longer have it. So it's an extra special skein. The next part of the giveaway will be a Gutschein, a gift certificate for 24 euro. And you will also get a coupon code plus the Gutschein, the gift card, for free shipping. So you can technically buy a skein of our sock yarn and you don't have to pay for the shipping. So I thought that would be really cool. The next gift you guys will receive is our hand balm that I have been making as well. It's a little reflective. I've had this with me at Kielgehold, and I also had it with me at Kassel. I have a few scents that are available. I have lavender, I have patchouli, and I also have, I believe, Camilla and lavender together as well. So if you are the winner, you will then tell me, or I would like you to tell me, or then if you're the winner, then you gotta let me know which scent you prefer. The next gift that you will receive, it's going to be a little bit loud for a moment, is a wooden stitch marker from Little Vicious Stitches. So this is a shop stitch marker favorite, and it is from, I always mess up her name, Atelier Marie Lucienne. And it's made of a wood that is certified and also high quality and biodegradable. So last but not least, for the giveaway, you will receive a bag that is really special because it comes from Wool Festival Kassel. This was the bag that all of the vendors at Kassel got, and I believe too that some of the shoppers too had this bag, if I'm not mistaken. I do know that Katja from Strickwerk 34 also had this in her shop for a while, but you will be getting all of your giveaway goodies in this bag if you win. So yeah, now I'm going to tell you how you can win. So my idea is, I would love to do a question and answer with you guys. So what you have to do is you have to, in the comments below, write a question for me. And then when all the questions are basically added to the comments, and by the way, this giveaway will close on September 15th. When that has closed, I will use a random number generator to pick the winner. The winner will be announced in our next podcast, where I will then also do the Q&A. Yeah, so I'm really excited about this Q&A episode. I'm really looking forward to all your questions, and can't wait to discuss the answers with you. So that's all I have for all of you today. Thanks so much for spending some time with me and for stopping by. Yeah, if you guys like this video, then please give us a thumbs up. And if you would like to catch other videos in the future, then please subscribe. Yeah, otherwise, I hope you guys have a nice weekend and see you guys the next time. Bye-bye.